The Midnight Caller. Lily had just moved to a remote countryside town, a place where the nights were as silent as they were dark. She liked the solitude, the quietness of her old farmhouse, and the wide open fields surrounding her. But her peaceful nights soon took a terrifying turn. One night, as the clock struck midnight, her phone rang. Startled, she picked it up, expecting it to be a wrong number. But when she answered, all she heard was silence, an empty, static-filled silence that lasted for a few seconds before the line went dead. She shrugged it off, thinking it was a glitch, and went back to bed. The next night, at exactly midnight, her phone rang again. This time, curiosity got the better of her, and she waited in silence. After a few seconds, she heard faint breathing on the other end of the line. Just as she was about to speak, the call ended abruptly. Now Lily was growing nervous. She checked her phone history, but the calls were listed as... She told herself it was some prankster, but deep down, she felt a strange sense of dread. The calls continued every night, each one identical. Midnight, silence, then faint breathing. And each time, she felt more unnerved, more anxious. She even tried switching off her phone, but somehow, it still rang at midnight, always from the same unknown caller. One night, after the fifth call, she decided to confront whoever it was. She answered, her voice tense. "Who are you? What do you want?" After a moment, the breathing grew louder, ragged and unnatural, like someone struggling to speak. Then, a gravelly voice finally replied, whispering one word, "Outside." Heart pounding, Lily glanced out her bedroom window, but all she could see was darkness, her reflection staring back at her. She hung up quickly, pulling the curtains shut, her hands shaking. Just then, her phone rang again. She hesitated, her heart racing, but answered once more. This time, the voice was clearer, almost as if it were right beside her. "I see you," it said, its tone cold and menacing. In a panic, she ran to her front door, dead-bolting it and checking all the windows, but they were already locked. She spent the rest of the night sitting on the floor, clutching her phone, jumping at every creak in the house. As dawn approached, she finally managed to drift off into a restless sleep. When she woke, her phone was buzzing with a new message, from the same unknown number. Hands trembling, she opened it. The message contained only a photo. It was dark and grainy, but she could make out a figure standing outside her window, watching her. She left the farmhouse that day, abandoning it without a second thought, and never returned. The midnight caller, however, wasn't done. As she settled into her new apartment a week later, her phone rang. She stared at the screen, her blood running cold as she read the caller ID unknown number. Unknown.